Okay, so it's the third of our 3 sessions on digital marketing and getting prepared for when the restrictions are lifted, when coronavirus is over, and when you can start bringing clients back into your business or going out to see clients. And this is you can use this lockdown as a way to get ready, or you can sit on your hands and just wait for the world to change. And my advice is to actually use the time and fine-tune everything you possibly can to make the most of when those restrictions are lifted. So today we're talking about paid advertising and digital paid advertising on digital platforms these days is really all about Google and Facebook. So can I get some input? Has anyone actually ever advertised on Google or Facebook, paid advertising?
Yes.
Louise, yeah.
On Facebook we have.
And you have, Tracy, yeah?
Yeah, we have too.
Okay, so who's had great results?
Not me.
I did in the beginning, a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I used to be able to pay a really small amount on Facebook and get really fantastic results. But then that's gradually, or kind of not so gradually, changed over the years.
Yep.
And now I find little to no results from paying, so I tend to do it mostly organic.
Okay, right. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Greg, we've just trialled our first bit of Facebook, Instagram advertising, just $5 a day for a month, just to test the water, basically. And yeah, we have got some sales that have come in from it. So yeah. But I haven't sort of got to we're still in the process of doing it, so we haven't really analysed it totally yet.
Okay, right. Joel, have you done any paid advertising?
No, we haven't done any before, so only organic.
Only organic, yeah. And Tony, you've done some advertising for Wales Cove, I believe, haven't you? I haven't got any sound on you, Tony. We'll have to come back to you. All right, so the first mistake that we find most people make when they go into advertising is let's throw an ad up on Facebook or Google and hope for the best. And that to me is all ass backwards. First of all, what we train our clients to do is to do some sales thinking before you actually pull the trigger on paid advertising. And by sales thinking, I mean working out what you want the ad to achieve. So I'm just going to share my screen. Sales thinking is about what do I want, what's the most wanted response that I want from my marketing. And really there are only two things that most people want. One of them is to raise leads or to make direct sales. So by raising leads, I mean generating interest from people who aren't quite ready to buy just yet, but may with some nurturing and love and relationship building. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yep. So there are some businesses that suit making direct sales. There's no doubt about it. If you're selling a fridge or a camera or a lawn mowing service or something that everybody is very familiar with, it doesn't need explaining. If you're selling something a bit more esoteric, something that is difficult to explain to people with a single ad, for example, Louise, your service, Local Advantage, isn't something that everybody knows about, yeah? It's not like selling a fridge.
Correct.
So you've got to do some explaining. So advertising in that realm is really about building relationships first. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you have to think what you want people to do when they answer your ad. Yeah? So do you want people to actually buy something straight away? That's a very difficult sell for you, isn't it, Louise?
It can be.
Yeah.
It's hard to know, with each person. Some people kind of get it straight away and it's really easy, and other people it can take a lot longer.
Yep. Joel, you're in the insurance business, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody wants to buy insurance, do they?
No, definitely not.
In fact, it's the thing that you buy hoping that you never have to use.
That's right.
Okay. So that's a difficult sell to buy online, to get people to buy online, yeah?
Yeah. Plus the fact that it's not something that's purchased every month, it sort of comes up for most people once a year.
Yep. So the insurance business is about building relationships. So advertising an ad that says buy insurance from us is rarely going to work, yeah?
Yeah.
Because insurance for most people is a generic product and you can buy it anywhere.
Yep.
So what people buying insurance do is they buy from people they know and like. So you're never going to sell insurance by putting up an ad that says sell insurance, buy insurance from us.
Yep.
Okay. Now, there's some differences between Google and Facebook advertising. Anyone want to comment on what those differences might be? Okay. Think about Google for a moment. I'll just share my screen again. Where are we? Go to that one. Okay. Now, when you advertise on Google, you're advertising to people who are searching for what you sell. When you're advertising on Facebook, you're not advertising to people who are searching for what you sell. You're advertising for people who are browsing to be social. And you're putting your ad in front of people you hope will be interested. Now, there are some tweaks to that. You can refine the audience that you're advertising to on Facebook, but essentially, Facebook advertising is push advertising. So you're pushing your ad to people who aren't necessarily interested or looking for what you're selling. Google, on the other hand, you're advertising to people who are actually searching for what you're selling, because your ad doesn't appear until somebody puts in the keywords that they're searching for, and that will bring your ad up. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah. Yep.
But there's a dumb way of doing it and a smart way of doing it. So let's have a look at some dumb ways of doing it. I did a search for plumbing Bustleton this morning, and it brought up that ad there and that ad there. See those ads? Am I sharing my screen? Yep. So you can see those two ads. Now, the problem here is that this ad isn't actually offering anything. That's the first failure. There's no offer. And when you click on that ad, it takes you through to a homepage. Can everyone see that homepage?
Yeah.
Anyone like to comment on the problem with it? Well, the obvious problem is that it's not offering anything. There's no relationship between the ad there and the page that people go to when you click on the ad.
And there's spelling mistakes.
Well, yeah, that's a dead giveaway. So whoever has done this ad, and it's probably the business, has hoped that people, when they click on the ad and go here, will actually do something. But there's no reason for anyone to do anything when they get to this page. There's no offer. There's no actual relationship between what's on the page and what people saw on the ad. So the owner of this business is hoping that people will do something like call. But if they don't call, there's no incentives to stay on the page. Whereas, let's have a look at this one, and I think I've showed this in a previous session. That's an ad for one of our clients that we set up some months ago, and it's still running because it still produces business. And one of the reasons it produces business is because it's got an offer. you can see the offer there. And when people click on the ad, it takes them to a specific landing page that has nothing more on it than what that ad is offering. So they can't dither about. The only reason for them to come to this ad, to this page, is because they've seen the ad and that sounds good. Yep, the only thing I can do here is request a booking or make a phone call. So that ad is that landing page is very specific for that ad. And another one of the reasons that you want your landing page to be specific is that the better your landing page matches the ad, the less you're going to pay for the advertising, because Google prices its advertising partly based on the relevance of the page that you go to the ad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here's some results from that, and we track these results carefully. So this is the results for March last month, and that ad, because it's been refined over several months, you can see the metrics here. Google provides you with intimate details of your spend, what pages people are going to, when they're clicking on it, etc. And you can see here that in a month, the clicks have gone up by 355%. The click-through rate, in other words, the number of people who click on the ad compared with the number of people who see the ad, is nearly 13.5%, which is huge for Google. Typically, you'll get a result like 1 or 2%, but because the ad matches exactly what is on the landing page, that helps get your click-through rate up. And the average cost per click has gone down by 50%. So this business has spent in a month $757 on ads, which is up by 127%. Now that might seem scary, but the reason it's gone up is more and more people are clicking on the ad and buying what they're selling. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So they've had 17 people convert, and by that I mean they've clicked on that request a booking button. Now we can't track the number of people who actually click on the phone number on that page. We can track if they click on the phone number in the ad, which is that one there. Have I confused everybody so far?
Greg, so if on that page when they click through, they can't actually find anything else out about that company, there's no other pages they can access. So like for me, I'd like to kind of look and find out a bit more about the company before I book an appointment with them.
Yep. So what you'll find is that if people come to the website organically,
mm-hmm.
they will find that landing page, a mirror of that landing page, which will have navigation tabs on it.
Yeah.
But for an ad, to measure the response from the ad itself,
mm-hmm.
you need them to actually go to the landing page and do nothing else but what the ad is offering.
Okay.
Okay. So you can have a replica of that landing page for organic traffic. But ideally, a landing page should have nothing else on it to take traffic from an ad.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're not going to know specifics. Your metrics are going to be all skewed.
Okay.
Okay. Another example of a landing page is this one here. And you'll see here that the only thing that this business wants them to do is to pay their $59, enter their name and details, and say, yes, I want the test drive. And that ad has produced a return on investment of approximately 20 to 1, that landing page. So that's to take traffic from a Google ad. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are other ways of creating landing pages and offers to take traffic from an ad. Here's a site that we've built, and we've modified this to take into account the coronavirus. Now, this this most wanted response isn't to make sales except for products. Somebody's got kids in the background. I might have to mute someone there. Who's got kids in the background? I can't see anyone. Okay, we'll go back to it. You'll see on this page there's a click here to book for a free online consult. And when you go through to that, this business can't now see customers because it's a beauty salon and they've shut down. What they're trying to do here is to create a lead generating device so that people fill this in and do a preferred time so that the business can get them on a Zoom call. And the purpose of getting them on a Zoom call is to do a consultation and then get them to buy products. So Tony, in your case, you could use the same strategy, booking a free consultation during which you establish a relationship with them and upsell them to insurance products, yeah?
Yep.
Does that make sense? Now, this company has products available for sale, and during that Zoom call, they can easily direct them to a new landing page, like this one. Again, choose the products you want to buy, fill in the details, and they'll contact you and take your credit card details over the phone.
Mm.
So there's just some, a few examples of what can be done. It's not the be all and end all, but it can be quite effective. Some other examples. Let's have a look at this one. Here's no, that's not it. I'll show you an ad from a local business. You see that ad? That's a Facebook ad for sheds in Manjimup. Now, that's on, it's a bog standard ad. The problem with it is that there's no offer. And when you click on that ad, it takes you through to that website there. Anyone see a problem with it?
Yeah, it's no offer.
No offer, nothing relative to the ad.
Yeah, it's really hard to, you'd have to really go looking for that particular shed if that's the one you liked.
Yeah. Really what they're trying to do is sell off the ad directly without making an offer. And so when people click on that ad and go through to that landing page, there's no relevance to what the ad says. Now, there may be some other problems with this, and I haven't even checked this yet, but when you're running ads in Google and Facebook, the pages you're sending people to need to have code embedded in them, the Google and Facebook tracking codes, so that you've got an idea using Google Analytics and Facebook's analytics platform to measure the results of your ad. And I suspect that with this ad, none of that's been done. So he'll never know whether he's throwing money against the wall and hoping it'll stick or actually getting some results. So what I would do in that case is build a landing page at the back of this website that's only for that Facebook ad. The only way you can get to it is through that Facebook ad. Then you can do some measuring and testing. Questions so far? Who's done that kind of thing? Who's built landing pages for their business? Nobody?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so before you ever spend another dollar on Facebook or Google advertising, you need to actually work backwards. So what we do is we build the infrastructure to take the traffic. In other words, the landing page, the opt-in forms, putting the pixel and the Google and Facebook pixel in place. Once that landing page or that landing process has been built, then we go and design the ad campaigns to point people at those landing pages. So the process isn't to do an ad first and hope for the best. It's actually to build the infrastructure in the background before you spend money on Google and Facebook.
So, Greg, is that the same thing as like in MailChimp, where they build you have a landing page to get your, like, on? I don't really understand all that stuff. I've never really looked into it on MailChimp, but is it the same kind of thing?
You don't want to build landing pages in MailChimp if you've got a website.
Okay, right.
The reason for that is that when you're advertising on Google, for example, Google takes notice of the domain that you're sending the traffic to.
Right.
Right? If it's a MailChimp domain, that's going to have an impact on the results of your advertising and the costs.
Right, okay.
Okay, I can't explain it in any more technical detail than that, but Google appreciates people being sent to the actual domain of the business rather than a third-party domain.
Yep, okay, that makes sense. Yep.
So always build your landing pages on your own website.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep, that's good. That clears that one up. I've been thinking about that one for a few weeks. So.
Yeah. And if you've got a WordPress website, it's easy to build landing pages.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
But bear in mind that it shouldn't have navigation where people can drift off and go elsewhere on the website.
Yep.
You only want to give them one choice. Yeah. Do this thing or don't do this thing. Yeah.
Okay,
so Greg, so for me, if I've got an online store, so say if the ad was offering a free sample or free shipping or something, and then they click on the ad, it goes to a landing page on the website. How would I then get them to shop in my shop without if they can't go to the rest of the site from that landing page?
Well, it depends on what products you're selling, Emma. What are you selling?
Chutneys and pickles.
Yep. So you want them to go and buy chutneys and pickles.
Yeah.
So you'd send them to your shopping page where all the products are.
Well, I thought you just said that you would build a separate landing page and you don't want them to go off from that landing page into the website.
Well, you can replicate that shopping page that you've got.
Yeah.
And just remove the navigation from it.
Okay, so the landing page would be a shopping page.
Yeah, in your case, it would be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
But you would still have the shop as it is at the moment for organic traffic, people who come to the website having found you organically.
Yeah.
Or you've directed them to the website through email, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Now, Tony, you've done some advertising on Google.
Yep.
For Whalers Cove.
Only really brand recognition advertising, no offers. I've done some offers for last minute bookings on Facebook ads, but not measurable.
Okay. So what we're talking about there is the difference between what we call brand or imagey type marketing, which is where you spend a lot of money on brand building and hope that some of it sticks. And as you and I discussed yesterday when we had a phone call, Tony, it's like putting up the Goodyear blimp with your name on it and hoping that enough people see it, and when they want whatever it is that you're selling, they'll remember you. But there's absolutely no way of measuring that dollar for dollar. So what we tend to advise is do what we call direct response marketing, and everything we've been talking about today is direct response. The ad has an offer in it. That offer is specific. It has great added value. It preferably has more of the direct response formula in it, for example, scarcity, testimonials, etc., and it drives people to a page where they can only get that offer. Now, if you do enough of that, you build your brand on the basis of the number of people who see it and act on it. So I'll give you an example of one that is quite effective. Let's have a look at this ad here. This is a Facebook ad that sells, what are they selling? They're selling a webcam, a very, very specific thing. Everybody knows what a webcam is, so they don't have to explain it. They don't have to build relationships around it. And that takes people to a page that says, here's the webcam, buy it. And there's nothing else they can do on that page. Maybe they can look at some other products, although I wouldn't advise that, because once you drift off into other products, you're never going to know whether your ad is successful for that particular product. But these guys have done a lot of testing, and that ad says nothing else but buy this. And that landing page is very specific. So that's direct response. But of course, once you go to that page, Facebook knows that you've been to that page. It's called remarketing. So there's some code embedded on that page, and no doubt all of you have been to a website and then come back to Facebook, and miraculously the ads for that company keep appearing in your timeline. That's because that code tracks that you've been there, and when you come back to Facebook, you keep seeing this. Everyone had that experience?
Yeah.
It's kind of spooky, but it's fairly simple technology. And so that because you've gone to that website and you've come back to Facebook and you keep seeing that ad, that starts to build the brand recognition. And repetition is everything. You can't really get a response. It's very difficult to get a response from the first time people see your ad. They've got to see it several times. So the reasoning behind remarketing or retargeting technology is to make sure that people do see it several times. Now, going back to Facebook, as against Google, who's advertised on Facebook, by the way? Everybody at some stage? Yep.
Yeah.
You can build what we call lookalike audiences in Facebook. So you've all got a database of clients and customers with their name and phone number and email address, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What you can do there is you can import an Excel spreadsheet of their email address and phone number into Facebook. Let's say you've got a list of 1,000 people in your database. You can then create a spreadsheet with their email address and phone number and import that into the back end of Facebook. And Facebook will go out and find multiples of that number of people who have similar interests. They might be a similar age group. They might have similar interests. And Facebook will go and find, let's say you've got 1,000, Facebook might go and find 300,000 people who roughly match them. And so their interests might align. So you might have people who are interested in knitting in your database. Facebook will go and find people who are also interested in knitting and may be interested in what you're selling. That's called building a lookalike audience. So rather than simply boosting a post and hoping for the best, you can be much more targeted than that. Janine, you've done a bit of that, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done it for clients. Yeah.
Building a lookalike audience.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm also have done it when it's regionally specific. So, say if it's for accommodation property that's targeting people in Perth or targeting people in Broome or that kind of thing, I tend to be more regional specific than create lookalikes.
Yep. So, Tony, do you want to talk about the offer that we discussed yesterday?
Yeah, sure.
So, how about explaining what you're trying to achieve? Because you're shut down because of the pandemic, yeah?
Yeah.
Nobody in the villas at all.
No, so we're looking to engage with our audience to start up again. So offer them a booking opportunity, probably through a gift voucher or a book now, pay later, or pay now, book later.
Yep.
Preferably.
And so, what's the offer going to be?
So for midweek, 20 to 30% off. For an extended stay, 5 to 7 nights, 30% off. So
Right.
offering a substantial discount to get longer stays.
Okay, so you're going to create a landing page on your website that's specific for that offer, yeah?
Yeah.
So there's your website, but coming to this from an ad, it will be just that offer with a buy now button for that gift voucher. So 5 nights at $200 a night, saving 33%.
Yep.
Okay. So your ad in Google, what's it going to look like?
Good question. Similar to that.
Well, it's going to say what the offer is, isn't it?
Yeah, what the offer is. Yep.
Rather than just come to Whalers Cove and have a nice time.
Yeah.
So if we look at accommodation in Dunsborough, we're going to get a whole bunch of, these are the aggregator ads. These are ads from people like Expedia and Booking.com, etc. Let's see if we can find an ad. There you go. Quiet resort close to beach, luxury family resort holidays. And that takes us through to what I suspect will be a nothing landing page because there's no offer there. So to me, they're throwing money and hoping that people will actually do something when they get here. Always.
Greg, can I ask why that ad's down the bottom?
It depends on your bidding process. Who was asking that question? Sorry.
Louise.
Oh, Louise, yeah. That's part of the bidding process, Louise. When you set up an ad campaign on Google, depending on the competition, bear in mind that this is an ad. Depending on the competition, they'll put your ad down the bottom or the top. So it depends on, well, partly what you're prepared to pay per click and partly the relevance of the ad to where you're sending people and a bunch of other parameters as well. But my advice is when you're doing Google ads and you're not an expert at it, don't try and do it yourself. You're far better off, frankly, paying someone to do it because they know what they're doing. We work for national accounts. We work with a company called Reach Local with a particular person at Reach Local. And Reach Local is a global company that spends $25 million a year alone on data. So there's nothing they don't know about Google Ads. For local businesses, we do a lot of it ourselves because it's much more concentrated. But when you're dealing with businesses such as accommodation businesses, you're probably better off going through a big company because their specifics are remarkable and their reporting is remarkable. Any other queries on any of that? Does that make sense, Louise?
Yep.
Now, you can probably get away with not going to a company like Reach Local because you're only advertising in a specific area, aren't you?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Tony for Whalers Cove, his customers don't come from the local area. They come from Perth and overseas. Well, they won't be coming from overseas for a while. And they won't be coming from Perth for a while until the barriers lift, the checkpoints are lifted. But essentially, his business is not from the local area. And Mel, yours would be similar.
Yep.
Yours is from all over the place.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else would like me to cover any other aspects of this?
Greg, I've got a question.
Tracy.
I do the social media at the moment for Simo's Ice Cream.
Yes.
So obviously the park is closed.
Yep.
And what we're trying to do with our Facebook ads, which I'm quite new to, is target different areas in Perth depending on the stores there that stock our products. So we don't do any online sales. The only way we're going to see from a sales point of view is if for example, the Farmer Jack's in Gwelup sells a lot more licorice than it usually does, because I'm telling everyone that that's where licorice can be found north of the city. So how do I measure the effectiveness of those sorts of ads?
What are the ads sending people to, Tracy?
Well, at the moment, it's just an informative brand awareness of the flavours that are available and the stores they're available. But all I'm sending them to at the moment is the actual, so like the ice cream page with a bit more description on the specific flavour.
Right, and let's say the ad is appearing in a particular area of Perth.
Yeah.
So it's appearing in Facebook feeds around a retail store that sells Simo's ice cream.
Yeah.
Right. So why wouldn't you direct people to a page? So the people, let's say they're in Fremantle, and they're seeing the ad, and I'm in Fremantle. I click on the ad.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know where I can get that ice cream locally.
Okay. So not just telling them in the Facebook ad itself.
Well, you can do that. You can actually create a Facebook ad that only appears in Fremantle and talks about Fremantle.
Yeah.
And another ad that talks about that is in Mandurah.
Yeah.
And is directed at Mandurah people.
Yeah, so I've done that a little bit broader, so it might cover 3 or 4 stores. But what I'm not sure of, how can I tell that's being effective?
Well, you can direct people to a page on your website that if they click on, they're in Mandurah and they click on the ad, it takes them to a landing page on your website that tells them where in Mandurah they can get that product.
Okay, so new landing pages.
Yeah, you could have you can have as many landing pages as you want. They're easy.
Yeah.
You could incorporate an offer into that as well.
Sorry?
You could incorporate an offer into that.
Of course you can.
It's not our store, so how do I incorporate an offer for, it's like our wholesale supplier. So Food Farmer Jack's in South Fremantle, for example, we can't say you can get a discount here.
No, you can't. No, you can't. You can only drive sales by getting people to come to that page and then going, okay, here's where I can buy it in Mandurah.
Right.
But for local people, you can drive people to a website where they can actually order online and come and pick it up, which I did the other day.
Yeah.
I didn't order online. I saw the ad and drove to Simo's, which is only 3 minutes from where I live.
Yeah, we don't have online ordering at the moment, but
no, but you could.
Looking at that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very simple process. But your ad in the Southwest could be very specific to the Southwest.
Yeah.
And you're not. It's very difficult to deliver ice cream and keep it frozen.
Yeah, because of the freezer.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So, anyone else need any help on any of that with specifics?
Greg, can I ask, with the landing page, in just obviously, I know there's obviously some technical stuff, but is it just like creating a new page in your, like I use WordPress, is it just creating a new page in the back end that you don't add to a menu?
That's right. Yep. That's all you do. So it doesn't have navigation on the top of it. It's, in other words, it's not under a parent page. So let's have a look at your website. Where are we? Local Advantage, isn't it? So let's go to that, and we'll look at what could be done here. Okay, so you wouldn't have all of this stuff up here, Louise. You'd have a page where they can only do what you're asking them to do. And I don't know what you're asking them to do, but it might be, I think you and I have discussed downloading some free thing to capture a name and contact detail. And then set up an ongoing marketing campaign to them via email, phone, text message, etc., through your database.
So, for example, at the moment, I've got a limited time membership offer, which is 99 days for $99.99.
Yep.
Lots of nines. And so, with to access that offer, you have to go to the app store. You have to go into the app.
Yep.
So over where it says download on the App Store, get it on Google Play.
Yeah.
There, if I had a landing page with those two buttons and just sort of clicking to that, do you think that would be effective?
Yes, if there's an offer there. So your offer is, but nobody wants to buy local advantage, as you and I have discussed. What they want is discounts on from local retailers and service businesses. Yeah. So save up to 15% on 482 local businesses. Get the app for $9.99 for 99 days. And on the landing page, you can have examples of it. Because your most wanted response is for people to download the app, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. And when they download the app, do you get their details, their contact details?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's perfect. Now, by downloading the app doesn't mean that they're actually giving you money, is it?
No. So when they download, there's a few sort of steps.
Yep.
So people can download it and they enter in basic information, just their email address and their name. So I get that, and then they go into the app. And then to actually access the offers, they need to enter in, further details and their payment. So.
Yep, that's right. But do you have a follow-up sequence in place?
Well, they go onto a mailing list, so they'll receive sort of the general communication, but they're not separated.
I would suggest in your case that if somebody has downloaded the app, they are interested in that instant in buying what you've got, or at least investigating it. So rather than going on the general mailing list, your mailing to them, your emails to them need to be specific and tell stories about people who have downloaded the app and got discounts and made. You can tell, every email could have a story about one of the local businesses that they can get discounts from. Let me show you something in a moment. I'll show you what a follow-up campaign might look like. And once you've set these up, they just run automatically. So we use a database system called Infusion. It's a customer relationship management system. It's quite complex, but you don't have to have something as complex as this. And I'll bring up what a campaign might look like. And Tony, you could do the same. Lots of businesses can do this. I'll just show you my screen in a moment. There we go. Loading up. Okay. So that is what a campaign might look like. So they start here by downloading the app, in your case, Louise. A day later, waits a day and then sends them an email with an offer in it. Waits another day, sends them another automatic email with a story in it. Whoops, don't want to mess this up. Waits another day, sends them another email. Another day, another email, all with different content in them. And that campaign might run for 3 or 4 weeks. And everything's pre-written. So have you got a means of doing that?
Not currently. I've spent many, many hours trying to decide on a CRM that's suitable and affordable.
Yep.
And I started a trial with one about 2 months ago, and then I just found it quite complicated and kind of when the free trial expired was when this was all happening, and I just didn't pursue it.
Yeah. Okay. But you will need some kind of CRM system, and there are lots of them, and they all do basically the same thing. So a CRM system is designed to trigger certain events when certain actions happen. That's essentially it. Now, ours does a lot more than that because it's much more extensive, and it does all of our billing and automatically, etc. But you don't actually need that. So you need a simple CRM system that will do a follow-up sequence. Even MailChimp will do that. So you can set up a MailChimp account. Have you got MailChimp?
Yeah, I do use MailChimp. I don't think I use it to the best of its ability.
Yeah. Well, now's your time because all your customers are closed. So it's probably worth investigating that, because it's going to be difficult for you to get people to buy for $9.99 something that they're not familiar with. So they need to get familiar with it over a period of time.
Yeah.
And telling them stories about the benefits on a regular basis is going to help that, rather than just chuck them into general broadcast emails.
Greg, I've got a question on that. When with one particular client, they've got a database of about 30,000, but over time they haven't, they've just all been chucked into MailChimp and they haven't really been tagged properly, or there's no delineation to show necessarily where they're from or what property they stayed in, or some do and some don't. Is there a way of going backwards to try and clean up those things, or go to those individuals and ask them more questions, or to make the database work more effectively so that you can target specific groups rather than just a whole lot?
Yeah, so you're talking about people who rent properties down here for holidays?
This is for a hotel chain that has 5 different properties around the state, and people who have stayed there go into this database, and so it keeps getting added through. But it's particularly sophisticated because it's not necessarily, now I'm getting new ones in, I'm classifying them by whether they stayed in Broome or whether they stayed in Mandurah. But up until this point, they haven't been.
Yeah. Is there any way of finding out?
I think it will be hard.
Yeah.
You do a survey,
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm wondering.
when they click "I've stayed here," it sends them into a folder.
It's generally the names get sent to us by the properties, and then they get added into MailChimp that way. So they send us their spreadsheets and we add them. So it's not something the client does themselves.
There's no easy way of doing it.
Yeah.
There's a tedious, time-consuming way of doing it, and Louise that's a good idea, doing a survey, but offering them an incentive to fill in the survey.
Yeah.
Send them a survey with get a free night here by answering the question, where did you last stay?
Yeah.
Which of these properties did you last stay at?
Yeah.
But setting it up so that as soon as they answer that, it tags them in the database.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Okay. Tricia, has any of that been helpful?
Yeah, I have developed landing pages, not linking them through to ads, but just using with my own email database. And I use a email management system called Aweber,
yep.
Which has worked pretty well for me. I've learned how to use it over the years, and I'm getting better at using the more sophisticated parts of it, and having new mailing lists created with new offers that I'm offering. One thing that I haven't done it before is adding the Google. I haven't actually done any Google ads at all because I really haven't engaged with Google business pages at all for my business, which I'm going to do now. And so, but with the Facebook ads, I haven't added the pixel through to the landing pages. So I'm curious about that.
Got to do that. Yeah.
That's pretty easy to work out through Facebook. Yeah,
if you're familiar with the Facebook, the back end of the the Facebook advertising platform, which, to be honest, is a bit of a nightmare unless you're doing it day in and day out. To do it, look, you could spend hours and days learning how to do it. To be honest, we find that it's more efficient to. I've got a specialist who does nothing but that, so I pay her to do that. Otherwise, I'll get in there with spanners and a soldering iron and hope that I'm doing the right thing, and inevitably mess it up because I'll forget something. And if you forget to do something as part of the process, it kind of buggers up the whole process. So it's not an easy thing to do, and equally, neither is Google, because there's a lot of things you've got to tie together. What's your business, Tracy? I've forgotten. Tricia? triciawoods.com.au. Okay, that's the counselling?
Yeah, counselling services, yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking of an offer that I could create. I probably wouldn't even use Google Pages at the moment just because I haven't got a profile in there yet. And with the COVID changes that they've made, I believe people can't make reviews at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'll wait till this shifts in order to. But I'd be interested to trial a Facebook ad and put an offer out for an introductory session that's nice and cheap for people.
Yep. Well, look, the
Facebook. My work's already been online for years. I've seen clients online for a number of years. So for me, attracting clients from all over is really appealing.
Yep. Well, you need to be pretty familiar with the back end of the Facebook ad management.
Yeah, I'm not.
And it is not an intuitive thing. It's designed by software engineers, who most of whom ought to be hung, drawn and quartered, because it doesn't tell you what to do next. It doesn't give you a step-by-step. You need to be trained on it or pay someone who is trained on it. Need to know the difference between campaigns and ad sets and ads, and then have to figure out, what all these metrics mean, and make sure that when you're setting up a new ad, you set it up so that it's a linear process. And to me, that's like watching concrete dry. Okay, are we done? Has that been useful for at least some of you? Yeah?
Yes. Yep, always useful.
Greg, just one more thing. With the Google ads, how do you get it to go onto other websites? Like, for instance, if I go onto a website and check the weather, there'll be ads there for other websites that I've visited before.
Yep, it's the same process as
same sort of process
as Facebook's remarketing or retargeting.
Yeah,
there'll be code added to that website that will show your ads. It's called the display network, Joel.
Yeah,
we've tried. Google tries very hard to sell display network advertising. We've never found it particularly effective. One of the reasons, when I showed you the results from the Sandgroper contracting ad, one of the reasons that these figures have jumped so remarkably in the month of March was because in the month of January and February, we tried the display network and spent a lot of money. And as soon as we stopped using the display network and put that budget into standard Google ads, these figures went up. So I'm not convinced that the display network advertising is worthwhile. It can be for some businesses. I'm not sure that it's advantageous for all businesses, though.
Yeah.
However, if you see Google ads on other websites consistently over a long period of time, and they're being done by people who know what they're doing, presumably they're spending money because it's getting a return on investment. But without talking to them, I don't know how to determine whether that's worthwhile. But bear in mind that in your case, when somebody's searching for insurance, they'll Google insurance.
Yeah.
So, and when somebody's browsing another website and they see an ad for insurance that has no relationship to what the website that they're browsing is, you can expect the results to be pretty low, because it then does what Facebook does, which is push advertising to people who aren't necessarily searching for what you're advertising.
Yeah.
But everything in this is about testing and measuring. So when we set up Google ads, we don't just set up one Google ad, we'll set up 8 or 10 of them, each slightly different. And then over a period of time, 2 weeks maybe, Google will tell us which ad is performing or getting the best results at the lowest possible cost. Then we can concentrate that budget, which was spread over 10 different ads, into the 1 or 2 ads that are producing the best results. But you won't know that until you test. And a single word can make a huge difference. So when we set up a Google ad campaign, the landing page will be the same for every ad, but each ad will be a slightly different wording. And the same with a Facebook ad. When we set up a Facebook campaign, we'll use exactly the same text above the photo, but the image might be different. And that Facebook will then tell us over a period of time which ad produced the best results at the lowest cost. So again, that's a matter of getting it done by people who know what they're doing and being able to analyse the results and know what the results are saying. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right. I think we've run out of time. We've exhausted everybody. Everybody's brain is scrambled, but I hope that that's brought some clarity to the situation. If you need any help with any of that, pick up the phone, give me a call. The number is, I'll put it up on the chat window. It's 9443 9327. That's our landline. That's here in Dunsborough. Or mobile is 0416 139 520. Thank you, everybody. Happy with all of that?
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
I'll record it. I've recorded it. I'll put it up on YouTube, and Bronwyn will have the link for it later today. So if you want to review it, or you've missed the earlier sessions, you can go back and review those as well. Shell, you're going to give me a call. Tony, you need to talk to me again. So let's do that on the phone, and I wish you all well, and as soon as business gets back together, I hope that you're going to be ready for it with the right online presence. Thanks all.
Thanks,
Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you.